White House Deputy Communications Director, gets the president's message out there, which is also important in this day and age of 24/7 media. Kaelan Dorr's with us. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. Thank you for coming. Thank you for just picking up and coming out here. The overarching theme of this media row, we've done a few of them now, right? So I think this is our third or fourth big one, is that this administration's done more for blue-collar workers in the run-up to Labor Day than anyone else has, in the history of our country. So we're really grateful that you would come here and be a part of this experience and help us get the word out.
Yes, and so much to cover. I want to just give our listeners and viewers a sense of the pace of this administration. And obviously the comm shop gets the message out. One day it's, he's sitting with Zelensky, the next day he's in Alaska with Putin, South Korean president just happens to show up, maybe I should go out on the streets of DC. Give us a sense of the pace and keeping on message.
Yeah, well, so I'm used to it. I think I've been with the president since 2015. And so a big part of what we do is just reminding them, hey, it could always be more chaotic. There could be an impeachment inquiry, or there could be some sort of investigation, right? Some sort of hoax that we have to deal with. And what I love about this administration is from day one, we've been laser focused on delivering tangible, quality of life results, right? Things like cleaning up the streets of the city, things like preventing the largest tax hike in our nation's history, things like providing no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, Social Security, all those things. We've come out here and kind of knocked out a lot of the tangible things that you can knock out really in the first 250, 300 days. And so what I love about that is it frees up the administration to be creative about what we do next. And as I look at this, I would be absolutely terrified to be a liberal in our country and worry about what they're going to do politically when everything that we've done so far has been wildly popular. I think this is going to be a really great 4 years for America. It's already been a great 300 days.
One of the things that I find fascinating is the president obviously is playing 4D chess always, and his opponents never know that.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to know how you're maneuvering that. I want to ask you one question that's come up a little bit when all of the allegations related to the intel and all the things that were found on former President Biden all the way down with the CIA folks. One of the things that came up from our listeners was, if Obama ends up being known, great. If he ends up being prosecuted, grand juries, whatever, it would be a massive meltdown of the, regime media, as we call them. And would it crowd out the important stuff you're doing? How do you maneuver all that?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't speak to any of that specifically because, obviously that's in the DOJ's bucket. That's in their court. And unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But what I'll say is, the relentless pace with which we've acted since we got here has been a huge boon for us because we've been relentlessly on offense. So a big part of my portfolio is I run the digital team, I run the digital shop here, and in previous administrations, posts, things that go out, they require 10, 12 sets of eyeballs on something. We're really quick and nimble because you never know when the next thing is going to move and you've got to change on a dime. And I think that's been very important, and it speaks to the ethos that comes from the president. This is something the president is so great at. He's so great at walking and chewing gum at the same time, doing more than one thing at once. I mean, you're right, you mentioned it. We're in Alaska, 2 days, 3 days later, we're here. We got every European leader under the sun is here. And then the next day we're making DC safe. And a lot of those things, they have a lot to do with one another, but sometimes they don't. And it's been great. It allows us we don't tailor content, we don't tailor messages to different demographics. We kind of put everything out because we're doing so much for so many different people. We've never really had to think or worry about that as an online strategy. And so it's been truly a blessing. But you look at things like, we're speaking today, they were gonna, Kilmar Abrego just turned himself in again. I guess he's going to Uganda is what it sounds like. I don't
happen soon enough, by the way.
I don't know that I would want to go to Uganda, but that's where he's going to go. But when you look at the way that hoax was initially handled, previous administrations would have stopped. Whoa! Let's slow down deportations. Let's slow down everything the American people voted for this one guy. And what we did is we stayed on offense, so much so that the sitting senator for the state of Baltimore, this Van Hollen guy, goes to CCOT and drinks margaritas with him. And I'll never forget, he did a Sunday show that weekend, And they were like, hey, what the heck are you doing? He's like, well, I feel like I got tricked by the White House, is what he said. And I remember the host going, well, sir, they didn't trick you into the second or third margaritas. And that never would have happened before. So it's the pace is an asset. There's no such thing as slowing down, but we're not like dissecting things and messaging them, like micro-targeting to specific people, because so much of what we do impacts so many people, and it's all tangible.
Yeah, everything you just described about this recent thug, 18, 19-year-old kid should care about it, and obviously, seniors should care about it. So it matters to everybody.
What's funny is, we talk about the One Big Beautiful Bill, and this is tangential, but it kind of speaks to that. A large part of the content we put out is the people that it's reaching are folks who don't actually follow us. And what I like to think is it's an exercise in giving people enough ammo to go have intelligible conversations in their own communities about the issues. And so we're doing the OBBB, and I wanted to do an ad from our accounts that was head on. Remember head on?
No.
Head on, apply directly to your forehead, and the guy repeats it like 4 or 5 times. And I mentioned it to my team, and they're all like, I've never heard of that. I started listing things from the 90s. None of them ever heard of any of them. So we had to take the day, do like a 90s boot camp. Next thing you know, every ad we've done ends up on Fox, because what's happening is it's like throwback nostalgia content. So people who are kids, people who are 18, 19, 20 are sending to their parents like, what the heck is this? And all the parents are sending it to the kids like, oh man, this is awesome. Remember, and so.
If you did Happy Days, I'd get it, just so you know.
Ooh, actually, I'm going to write that down. A Happy Days thing?
Yeah, a Fonzie deal.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you. I'm writing this down.
I'm 60, so, I vote.
I just sent that to the team. We should do a Happy Days concept.
And
okay.
It is Happy Days. Happy Days are here again, so it works on a lot of fronts.
I love that.
I'm here all week.
What's great is that like none of the actors on that show are fans of ours, so like they'll all freak out. It'll be great.
Yeah, we like them freaking out. Explain where that message that you're talking about blasting out goes. Where should people be watching if they want to know literally what the president is thinking moment to moment?
Well, what I love about it is the president is very transparent himself. So if you follow him on Truth Social, you're going to get his thoughts in real time.
Does he do that before you know it by chance?
Oh, of course. Well, and it's with the pace with which we move, like not every staffer is aware of everything that's going on at all times, but we're really nimble, like I mentioned, and so we're moving on the fly, and this has been the most qualified team I think that's ever been assembled in modern politics. From the campaign to the administration, the president has really mastered getting the right folks in the right spot to go out there and do their own thing on behalf of the American people and to serve his vision, and we haven't compromised on that vision once. I think that's very important.
We've done a series of One Big Beautiful Bill deep dives, for lack of a better term. We've done a 2-hour evening talk radio town hall on piece through piece, whether it's overtime, whether it's farm policy. We've also done columns on it in our newspapers. We've done many different things. One of the things I worry about is that as big as that bill is, and as much good as that in, the regime media is never going to let you know. You're fighting them every day, and obviously the midterms are super important. Does more need to be done on the communication front on that bill day to day to day?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can always, when you're not talking about your big wins and something as historic as this bill, you're obviously not doing your job that day. But I think the team here has done a really excellent job of pushing that message. But you're right, the regime media will never cover this because it is something that is unequivocally a historic win for the president. So we've got to find unique angles and different ways to get about doing that. This week everyone's here because we thought it was important to remind the American public as we head into Labor Day that this president has done more for the blue-collar worker than anyone in maybe our nation's history. And we're constantly looking for angles and ways to cover it. But you mentioned the regime media. I think the most important thing we learned, not only from this previous election, but from the first 300 plus days of being here, is that they don't matter. We don't need them. And for years, for decades, they've viewed the president's supporters as less than human, as trash. They spout lies like we're Nazis or pieces of garbage or we're deplorable, you know what I mean? And we no longer need them. I think that's been really powerful. That's something that the president has been very clear about. He's never pulled punches in regards to the regime media.
I noticed.
Yeah, I know. It's cool. It's good for you guys.
Right.
It's great for you guys.
It is, and he's even calling them out, one by one.
And you know what what I'll always be a fan of what you guys do and why we do these media rows is not only because we strive to be the most transparent administration in history, but I come from kind of a tech background. You've got like what we call a stickier user, or you've got a stickier audience, and that the people that come in to watch you, they watch you with intention, they listen with intention, they want to know what's going on, they're curious, they're intellectually curious, and the greatest lie the left and the regime media ever told was that we didn't need a marketplace of ideas in this country. We didn't need people like you out here doing the Lord's work and sharing this message, and we're fighting back against that.
Even sitting us in new media seats is pretty amazing. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for getting the message out for the awesome blue-collar force that makes this country go. As Mike Rowe would say, without them, we're toast in many, many ways. So we do appreciate you, and also I'd say look forward to more of these. And once the wind at the back of the American public and our economy comes from the one big, beautiful bill, that'll be the best story to tell.
Amen. I did not pay him to say any of these nice things, for the record. He's just a great patriot. We appreciate you guys.